Good morning, everyone. I think some of you know that I'm a really big fan of Bishop Robert Barron. Before he was a bishop, he was a priest in Chicago, and before joining the seminary, I used to listen to his homilies and look at his YouTube videos. So one of my favorite things to do is go to a park and take a walk and then have my headphones on, and I'm listening to his homilies, his podcast, his recorded homilies. And one of his homilies, he spoke about this parable, the parable of the sower. And what really stuck with me is that he kind of offers a deeper layer to the parable. So first I will offer the most common interpretation that we hear most of the time, and then I'm going to go into how he adds another layer to it. So the seed that the sower sows is the word of God. And who are we? We are the different souls. And depending on how open we are to hear the word of God, we will relate to those different souls, depending how open we are to him and how we put it into practice. So the scripture offers us four kinds of soils. First, it says some fell on the path. So those are the ones that are close to the word of God. And you might have experienced this. When you try to share the word of God to someone, trying to share your experience, how you have felt God close in your life, you may see that we haven't seen this reaction from people. Whatever. Man, well, that's your thing, not my thing. Well, that's nice. You see, people who are close to the word of God, who don't even allow the seed of the word of God to dig deep and give fruit. So those are the seeds that fell on the path. Those are met with indifference, or who are too distracted to take in the word of God. Second, other seed fell on rocky ground where it had little soil. So those are the ones who are initially joyful, carried away by the initial joy of hearing the word. But what happens? They don't meditate upon it. They don't continue on the path of conversion of heart. They're joyful. Oh, that was a great reflection that you gave. Oh, that was a great homily, Father. Oh, that was an amazing retreat that I just went through. And then continue on their lives like nothing happened. They don't take it in, meditate upon it, let it take root in their lives, allow it to change their lives. So those are the ones that fell on the rocky ground. Third, we have the ones that fell among thorns. Those hear the word, meditated, and continue on a path of conversion. But what happens? They end up giving in to those substitutes of God: power, honor, pleasure, wealth. Allow themselves to be taken over by anxiety, by the problems of their daily life. And they just kind of stop in their discipleship, in the path of discipleship and conversion. Finally, we have some seed who fell on rich soil and produced fruit. Who are those? Those are the ones that hear the word, accept it, and produce fruit. So the moral of the parable will be that rich soil that produces fruit, bears fruit 30, 60, and 100-fold. But imagine you being a farmer, and you kind of have an idea of how much, when it's time for the harvest, how much fruit you will produce. Now imagine in one of those harvests, you produce 30 times more than what you thought, or 60 times more than you thought, or 100 times more than you thought. See, even the smallest number is extraordinary, it's miraculous. To produce 30 times what you expected, that is extraordinary. So that's the abundance, the superabundance that God is calling us to produce. So what Bishop Robert Barron offers as a reflection is, in Palestine, seeds and water were very precious, so you didn't just waste them. However, Jesus talks about a sower who just sends out his seed everywhere, not carefully planted on the place where he knows it will give great fruit, but just everywhere, on the path, on the thorns, on the rocks. So what is the Lord talking about here? The superabundance of God, who spreads his word, spreads his grace everywhere, who does not discriminate from this person to another. St. John Chrysostom said regarding this, as a sower does not make a distinction in the ground which is beneath him, but simply and without distinction puts in the seed, so also he himself, referring to God, addresses all. And see, if we open even a little bit to the Word of God, it will produce great fruit, 30, 60, and 100-fold. So God doesn't get tired of continually giving us His grace, even though some people may be open, some may not. Some people will give fruit, some not. He still does not get tired of spreading His word everywhere. So what are we called to do? To imitate the Lord, to sow in the same manner. Let me ask you, how often do we give up before we even start evangelizing? Before we even start spreading the word? Oh, should I share this with this other person that seems to go through some troubles? Maybe not. No, it's not my business. It seems to be in a deep pain, but maybe later someone else will help. Perhaps we're discouraged when we don't see the fruits of our labor. We try, and it doesn't seem to be bearing fruit. Perhaps we're in charge of the household. Perhaps we're in charge of a ministry. We're in charge of something, and we try, it doesn't yield fruit. And perhaps we become discouraged. And we become more selective on where we spread the word of God, on who we talk to about God. Perhaps we stop evangelizing, spreading the word of God out of fear what other people may think. They may think I'm a Jesus freak. They may think I'm obsessed with religion, that I'm overly pious. Yeah, maybe today I shouldn't share the word of God. So we stop spreading the seed of the word of God. So what is the conclusion that we should arrive? Today we're invited to sow the word of God on the hearts of all people, even those that we may think that are not worthy of our efforts, or who we may already decide that they're not going to be open to the word of God. Spread the word of God everywhere. If we are willing to share the word of God and people are open to that, even a little bit open, God will do extraordinary things in their lives. St. Anthony of Padua,